what's going on. So we just planted these blueberries up today. I just got them in last night. Pretty excited about it. It's hot in here. It's about 100 degrees in this house right now. But I'm just going to go over a few things with you about the way this is all working. You can see behind me, that's our doser station right there. And I'm going to flip you around and kind of walk you through just kind of how we started these off and what's going on here. So we went through and we planted each of these, threw the tags in here. I'm going to get them all stapled up onto each post so you can see what it is. I did 3 different kinds of blueberries in here. So this whole row is the Jersey from Stark. This one is Patriot. And this one here is a North. So yeah, North Blue. And basically there's an early, mid, and late harvest in here. Them being in here will and should help them pollinate. They're self-pollinating. They are matched better with some other plants specifically to help pollination, but they're all going to pollinate. And if I have to stagger a few of those other plants in here to try to improve pollination, I'm going to do that. But at the moment I have 17 Jersey, 17 Patriot, 17 North, all in a row. And we're basically gonna I'm gonna design some sort of trellis in here. Not 100%. I got to see how these ones stand, if they need a lot of help and support. But basically each of these got a drop down with a ring, and the watering system's working pretty well. I need to drop some rocks on some of them to kind of get them to straighten out and level out so they water evenly instead of being kind of cockeyed like that. And then there's the doser station. So everything comes out of the hydrant, runs through a timer. Right now at the moment we're watering, I really like these. These are just the battery operated ones you get from Home Depot. They're orbits where you just set a start time, how long you want it to water and how often, so the day interval. Right now these are watering every single day for 2 hours. I'm trying to get them wet down and, you know, help out for a transplant, but I'm going to turn that back as soon as they get their feet. And that runs right through here and hits this station. And I have a hose hooked up right here so that I can just kind of clean things with city water. But it will run up this line and then goes through 2 carbon filters, and then we'll pop down into here. And right here we created a bypass, so I can bypass my doser just by flipping that off and opening this one up. Or I can have it how it's set up now, as to where it runs through this doser here and then back down into that feed line. And then it comes up into this. This is a 6-inch, this is 3 feet long by 6 inch, and that's our mixing station. So it will be sucking water out of that into the mixture, and then it hits this mixing station and spends a little bit of time in here so that water has a lot of time to blend and comes out the top up here. And then once it comes out the top, I have the option to run a hose. So if I need to water with the hose, this is the water that I would use. So it will be pH balanced and mixed. But when that spigot off, obviously it comes off and it breaks off down this row, down the center row, and then down the row on the end. And that's all, you know, using PEX here. Got the little drop downs and heads on in there. So pretty simple. Through, up, gets clean, pulls out the chlorine and chloramine the best we possibly can while keeping up water pressure. Hits the doser, and then this is my feed barrel right here. And we had to bring this water down all the way because my city water that's coming out of this spigot is about 7.5. I have to set my feed barrel at 1.5 and I have my doser set to 4.5%. And with this mixture at 1.5, it's putting 4.5% of the total solution of that mixture, and that right now is coming out about 5.0. And ultimately, I'm gonna probably bring it up a few points. I'm actually gonna keep my blueberries at right around 5.5. I know that's kind of a no-no, but there's a lot of organic blueberry growers running their pH at 5.5 because that gives you a better environment for bacteria to live. Once you start dropping below 5 especially, bacteria, fungal life is going to have a near impossible time living in there. Oh, 116 actually right there. So we just put these in and I'm giving them a little boost. I'm using the down to earth acid mix here. Just like I said, giving them a little food. I've been watering these with that 7.5 solution, so that's why I have my mixture down a little low right now. I'm trying to bring the overall pH of this media down to about 5.5. And my meter that you saw over there actually tests water and the media. My media is about 90% pine bark, and then I have just in the top here a little bit of my soil mixture that I use in the tomato house with perlite to kind of give it a little bit of something to grab onto the plant. But as it goes down into there, it's like 95% pine bark, which wants to sit typically around 5.5. So we're just going through and like you can see, just kind of making a little circle with this here, just like that. Gonna do these last bit of plants here. Not measuring anything crazy or doing anything like that, just trying to get a little bit of food on them so that when I water this in really good for the first time, it's got just a little bit of food going down into it. These starter plants from Stark Brothers look pretty good. Like I said, just giving them a little dose of food. Gonna go through, I have my wand set up here so I could always hand water. You always want enough hose to run the whole house. So I'm gonna go through and water these real quick. Water in this food and give them a little bit more of a moist place to be. Again, we're just kind of using this down to earth. That's not the mix I'm gonna end up using, but it is just kind of what I bought just to give them a little bit of something off the start, so they're not sitting in there with nothing. And I'll show you the nutrition as we go. That's something that I'm still really studying and gonna get our mind around. This is a Blue Lab meter. It does water, it does the pH and the TDS and electric conductivity in there as well. But it also has a probe that I can stick right into here for pH. So I'm gonna be kind of gauging and making decisions off of there, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing and why as we go. So the blueberry house is off to the races. Really excited about this house. I love the way it looks. These are 60-gallon containers that we made just for these plants. And they're basically 2 by 2 by 2. And that'll give you about a 60-gallon container. It's just a beautiful house. I can't wait to see it full of plants and blueberries. See you guys soon. All right, so this is what the system sounds like when it's running. You can hear that diaphragm pump kicking as the water runs through it, and that's what's kind of sucking up this solution here. Works like a siphon. Let's see, but we got the gauge on here that will it shows the PSI that we're operating at and the temperature of the water. It's good stuff to know. Our system can't operate over 40, but it will operate really low. I can pretty much run all my houses at the same time. You see right now I don't actually have those carbon filters in. They're about to pop in, but we realized I didn't put a clean out right here. So I'm gonna put that clean out in so that when I run these filters out, I can flush them for a few minutes. Otherwise, you're gonna get a bunch of carbon in your system. So I'll show you the flush when we go to do that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Got this hose hooked up over here, so I'm about to hand water that food in, and we're gonna go from there. All right, so I just set the doser for tomorrow. Got all finished up here. That's gonna conclude blueberry planting day. So yeah, I'm gonna flip it around, kind of show you this real quick. All right. So you can see my meter's reading at 1.6. 1.6 is the pH right now. My TDS is gonna be off the scale. Oh, it's not in there right now. But the TDS will be off the scale because the phosphoric acid, which is what I'm using to bring it down, adds to the TDS. Not a huge deal because it's mixing with the water as it goes in. But basically just have it set so that it can do what it needs to do tomorrow. And I'm actually just gonna set it to run for an hour tomorrow and see what that does. We've had it pretty wet now for a while. At 4%, it drains this bin pretty good. So I need to kind of see how it holds at an hour. Really, this needs to have a lid on it. So I need to get that set up. This is one of our cut barrels. I have some with the snap lid, so I might switch it out for this one, or do something. I'll make something if I have to. But pretty basic, 1.6. It's coming out at about 551 right now into the beds. Let's see, my drip rings are still pushing out. So as I start plants, I always come in and touch them up with the hose, just so that it gets time for those roots to come out of the little ball that they're in and move into where the emitters are actually hitting. It'll seem kind of dry on top, but if you just move the soil back a little bit, you'll see that it is really wet down there, you know, like a knuckle deep into the soil bed. I'm not really going to bother with testing the media at the moment with the probe. I'll do that here in about a week. I can't change it too quickly, so I'm just going to keep feeding it at about 5, check it in about a week and see where it is, and if I need to do anything more drastic, then I will do it at that point. But they're looking okay. They definitely are going to be happy to get readjusted back down to a more bearable pH. And I am going to come in and a lot of stuff that is hard for them to uptake at higher pHs, I'm going to come in and foliar feed them, and probably adjust that pH on the foliar feed, and do that on a regimen to kind of make up for some of that. And I'm going to do that with a number of micronutrients especially. And again, I'm going to fill you in with all that as we go. I did get these plants from Stark Brothers. They came in and they were in really good shape. The packaging was really good. They delivered them really quickly, and I'm pretty happy with them. So we're gonna just kind of ride with it and see how they go. I said I just planted all these today, and really, all things considered, they're doing pretty well. See how heavy the pine is in this mixture. So yeah, I'm real excited. I'm excited about the setup here. The doser seems to be working really well. This was the one I was most worried about, and it has to suck up the most of the adjustment barrel than any of the other houses. The other houses, I'm pretty much going to set most of them at 6.8. My raspberry house I'm going to set to 6, so that one's going to take some more consistent adjustment as well. But this one's probably going to get sucked down pretty good every day. And if I can get away with an hour watering, I think everything will be fine. So yeah, that's the setup. Pretty happy with it. I'll let you know how it goes. It's just kind of a knockoff of some of the other stuff I've seen. You know, not everyone does it this way, but this is the way that seemed to make the most sense to me. And you know, we just kind of made our own mixer tube. That holds about 5 gallons if you do the math on it. So it got about 5 gallons in there, and that gives it some good contact time to stir around in there. And then this here, we got these Nutri dosers just right off Amazon. This one here was like 90 bucks. And then we did install the backflow on here so that it can't suck back up and go into your water source. So something that's missing here, like I said, is that clean out off of the carbon filters. Running double carbon filters, probably gonna have to replace them pretty quickly, but you do better chloramine removal with the double carbon filter. So that's why we went with that. Some people would put another filter before it hit the mix tank, like maybe like right here. That's a possibility yet, but being that I'm only sucking up pH adjusted water, I'm not doing nutrients, I didn't want to mess with that, but it is always an option, and we just put it right here. If it doesn't go through the doser, it doesn't need another filter. It's already filtered really well before it comes straight down. If you got any questions about this setup, let me know. Any suggestions, let me know. Again, I'm new to running it this way. I typically will run a straight reverse osmosis into a large res, 1,000 gallon, 500 gallon, and pump feed everything, which is a little bit different of a way of doing it. But it wastes a lot more water. So I'm trying it this way, and I'm pretty pumped about it. All right.